Kalkalosh Boker Or Masechet Menahot Daf Yomi Daf Pei Zayin Amud Aleph 87a1. We are starting the Gemara. The Gemara starts. It's a few lines down, 2, 4, 6 lines down. The Gemara. En meviin lo matok v'lo mevushal v'lo meushan v'mevi pasul. We already learned that you're not going to bring any type of wine to the Menachot or to the wine libations, all the things, but to the Mizbeach if it's going to be matok, mevushal, or meushan, right? Whether it's going to be sweet, cooked, or smoked. So it says if you did bring it, it's going to be pasul. V'aktani reisha. I thought we learned in the reisha meviin yisyon v'mevi kasher. If you do bring it, it's going to be kasher b'diavad. So he says, Ravina says, Kerochu Tani, which means you have to put both of them together, right, and say that they both have the same din, right? That means they both have the same halacha. That means don't start changing the halacha. Amar Ravina, right? Ravashi comes and he tells you, no. Chulya deshim shalomais. He says the metikut that comes from the sun is not maus. Chulya de peiramais. But if it comes from the fruit itself, it is maus. Meaning, if it's going to be sweet only because of the sun, no. But if it's sweet because of the fruit in itself, that's not good. Okay, Emevin Yashan, you're not going to bring old wine. That's the words of the Rebbe. Chachamim say it's going to be kosher. Amar Chizkiya says Chizkiya, my time the Rebbe, what's the Rebbe? Amar Kar, the pasuk says lekeves yain. Ma keves ben shnato. Just like the keves is 1 year, so to yain could be ben shnato. So says the Gemara, Yima keves ben shanim pasul. But if it's going to be 2 years, it's going to become pasul. Af yain ben shanim, it's going to be pasul. V'chitem, and you're going to tell me achirami. V'tani, we learned in the right that yain ben shanim, wine of 2 years, you shouldn't bring it. But if you did bring it, it's going to be kasher. So man shama le'dama lo yavi. Who's the one that says you shouldn't bring it? So he says Rebbe. The kama revivi kasher. Now he said if you bring it, it's going to be kosher. And Amar Rava, but rather Rava says, "Zayin the Rebbe." The reason Rebbe dichtiv al tere yain ki tadam. Right? He says over here like this. What does that mean? The pasuk is coming and saying, "Don't put your eyes in the wine, which is going to be very red and meshubach, to drink after it too much, because many times when a person comes and he starts getting drunk, they don't know the differentiation between good and bad. So a person should be careful." Says the 2 dots. Emevin lo mina deliyot. Tana, we learned in the Braita, Kramim avodim pa'amay mishana. We're talking about the ones which are going to be worked twice a year. Rav Yosef of Lekana, the Perdesa, Rav Yosef had Pina in the Kerem, the Rafik betfei Rivka, that they came and they did an extra one. Fa'avad chamra de dade maya al chad train. So he was able to take out the yain very, very chazak, that they had to actually put double the amount of water than normal wine. So basically, you see that like look how incredible that it has an effect. Like a little tiny thing would have an effect on how much water you have to dilute it and how much this is like incredible stuff here. Lo ayu konsin oto b'chavtzin, we wouldn't put it in big buckets, right? Tana chaviyot lekadiyot ludiyot beniyot. So he says the chaviyot ktanot, which are like kadiyot and ludiyot beniyot. Ema nechin otam shtayim lechat achat, one by one. Keitza bodek, how would you check it? So the Gizbar was Yoshev, Kaneh biado. Zarak agid, hikish b'kaneh, he used to start hitting. Tana zarak agid, what does that mean? Shav the shmanim. Gizbar hikish b'kaneh. V'leima le'memer. So why don't you just say it? Why does he have to start hitting it? Why does he have to say it? Right? Why don't you just say it? So Misayel Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan, keshem shadibur yafeh besamim, kach dibur ra layain. Something incredible. He says the dibur is good for besamim.
Yes.
Yeah? מפני שהכל יפה לבשמים. Some people say that that's where you're supposed to make שהכל, ברחב שהכל. Somebody once when they took בשמים, they did שהכל נהיה בדברו. What are you doing? He says, מפני שהכל יפה לבשמים.
There is plant, like smelling plant, they took that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So that's to do with the בשמים. מפני שהכל יפה לבשמים. The kol is good. But, exactly, he says here, the dibur is רע ליין.
Right.
You see, that means for wine, it's not good to talk. Don't talk.
Don't talk, but you can put music.
So he says over here, he says over here like this. Here he says, interesting. Here he says, the Ben Yehuda, he comes and he says, the tam shadibur mashpia shpaot afuchot al besamim val yain. It's afuchot. Very interesting. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Next. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda. מה? לא, זה לא טוב לדבר. לא טוב לדבר על יין. אסור לדבר ביין. זאת אומרת, כשהם עושים את זה. לא, בבית שלך זה בסדר, זה כבר מבושל, זה כבר כלום. אבל הכוונה, זה הפוך. הכל יפה לבשמים, זה טוב. תדבר, תשאיר, תעשה מה שאתה רוצה.
מה, לבשמים?
כן, ליד הבשמים. תדבר כל מה שאתה רוצה. לא לשון רע, אם אתה תדבר לשון רע, זה ייפול, אבל הכוונה דברים טובים.
כמו אנשים שמדברים להתראות.
ודאי, זה מאוד טוב. They did a study. כן, דיברנו על זה. במהפך, אתה זוכר? נתנו שיעור שלם על זה. We give an entire shiur on it. The study, there were 2 different studies to do with plants and everything, right? That how good it becomes. Yeah, there was the guy in Tokyo, and then there was the Jew.
No,
The
Canada
Jew.
very sensitive, by the way.
Yeah. No, but we actually brought it down. The coming revolution.
I
יש
had
לך
the
את זה
drums in my
מאחוריך.
house. Different.
Fine. So now it says the Gemara as follows. Yeah. So he says, right, achat achat, kitz abodek. So he says, okay, fine. So he said, what happens if a person is going to come, going to be magdish at this? Mao shilke alav mishum balmum is going to get lashes because of balmum. Given the pasul balmum dam yodin ma and balmum elabebema. Take the same answer as always. Tanrabanam we learned in the Braita. Elim mimuav. Right, the Elim, the best are from Moav. Kivasim, the best are from Hebron. Agalim, the best are from Sharon. Kozalot from Haramelech. Rabbi Yehuda Omer mevin kvasim shegovan krochvan. They used to bring kvasim that their height was like their width. Amar Rav Shila ma'itama Rabbi Yehuda Suri Zinu Rabbi Yehuda dichtiv yirecha miknecha baymahu kar nirchav. So he says, כתיב, it's written, על חומותייך ירושלים הפקדתי שומרים, כל היום וכל הלילה תמיד ויחשוב, ומזכירים את השם על דמו ינחם. מה יאמרי, what does it mean? הכי אמר רב שילה, אתה תקום תרחם ציון, כי לך לנקי במועד. מנחם בונים לשלם השם. So the Gemara says, מעיקר what was the אבא says something בשילו, כי בחר השם את ציון, יבן למחשב לו. So basically he's coming to teach you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu דווקא specifically chose this, in this world, in this mountain, and also in the future as well. Adran alach, kol korbanot hatzibur. Perek Asiv, the 10th chapter, the bottom of Pei Zayin Amud Aleph, 10th chapter, Nu Mishnah. Shte midot shel yavesh yom mikdash. There were two different measurements of dry, for dry. Isaron and chetzi isaron. Rabbi Min omer, isaron isaron v'chetzi isaron. No, it was isaron isaron and chetzi isaron. So right, that means basically it was two different types of kelim. One of them was an isaron, and the Gemara is going to explain the difference between them. Isaron maya mishamesh, shavidam menachot. All the menachot was isaron. לא יום הבדל לא בשלושה לפר, right? ולא בשל שניים לעיל, אלא מדועים עשרונות. חצי יסרון was used for what? שבו יום חביתי כהן גדול. מחצת בבוקר, מחצת בין הארבעים. That's why you needed the חצי יסרון. Okay, says the Gemara, Tanya we learned on the Braita. Haya Rabbi Min Omer, Rabbi Min say, Matumul what does it mean Isaron Isaron lekevas Why did it say twice? Right, we just said read it again this morning also. Isaron Isaron lekevas Eicha. Melamed sheshte esronot Ibn Midash, or two different esronot. Echad gadush vechad machuk. One of them was like bigger, and one of them was smaller. What does that mean? One of them was katan velo yemachzik Isaron unless you used to be godesh, and the other one was machuk. That means it would only be going to be when it's machuk. Okay, the gadush shebo ya model lechol menachot. The one which was a gadush, they used to do it for all the menachot. Okay, pei zayin mubet. מחוק שבו היה מודד לחביתי כהן גדול, והחכמים אומרים לא יהיה שם אלא יסרון אחד. שנאמר ויסרון אחד לכבש אחד. אם כן מה אתה אומר, what is it come to teach you יסרון יסרון? לרבות בחצי יסרון. So ask the Gemara, pei zayin mubet, 87b, ורבי מאיר, חצי יסרון מנהלה. How does he know about the חצי יסרון? So he says, נפקלי, he learns it from ויסרון. For Rabbanan, now the Rabbanan, they learn it from the Vav, lo darshe. They don't learn it from the Vav of Ve'isaron. Rabbi Meir, hai Ve'isaron echad lekavaz echama, what is he going to do with it? So he says, Ha'u shelo yimdod lo shel shlosha lepar v'lo shel shnaim la'il. Don't measure 3 for the par or 2 for the ayil, right? But rather you have to do Isaron, each one separately. Meaning like this. Let's say I have to do liters. So instead of doing 3 liters in one shot, I have to do 1 liter, 1 liter, 1 liter. Right? 1, 1, 1. That's the way that had to be done. For Rabbanan, according to the rabbis, nafkle min nikudo. I'm going to learn from Nikudo. What does that mean? The time we learned on the right, Amar Rabbi Yosef, lama nakud vav beemtza veisaron. Why is there a nakud on the vav? In the middle of the vav, there's a nikud. Veisaron. And he saw shel yom tov rishon shel chag. So he says, shelo yimdo lo b'shel shlosha lepar v'shel shnaim la'il. Rabbi Meir, nikudo, we're not going to come and we're not going to make a, how do you call this? We're not going to make a drasha on the nikudot, on the nikud. Okay? Fine. Chetzi Saron. Maya Mishamesh, 2 dots. Right? What would you do with the Chetzi Saron? Boya Moded, Chavitek one gadol. We used to measure the choyim half in the morning, half in the nighttime. Moded, well, meaning we have a contradiction. Chavitek one gadol lo yebe chatzin. He would never come in a chatzin. He used to bring a full isaron, and then he used to divide it in half. Amar Rav Sheshat says Rav Sheshat, my moded, what does it mean moded? Mechalek. You're right. He used to use the full one, and then he used to divide it in half. So says the Gemara, Chetzi Solomon, so Gadush Yamachuk was a Gadush or Machuk. So Siman Chetzi Chavite Shulchan, Tebel Rabbanan. So that's the Gemara. It should also be asked for the rabbis. The Rabbanan, Nisaron Gufe Kamibai, Nisaron itself, you're going to ask. Gadush Yamachuk was a Gadush or Machuk. Remember, would that mean, is it that only if you overflowed it, then you had the Isaron? Or if it's flat, then you had the Isaron? That's a Machuk. So Amalem in the Rabbi Min, not Nishmal Rabbi Min, in the Rabbi Min, Nishmal Rabbanan. From Rabbi Meir, we're going to know from Rabbi Meir, and from Rabbi Meir, we're going to learn Rabbanan. Midamar Rabbi Meir Saron Machuk, Chetzi Saron Nami Machuk. The Rabbi Meir is machuk, now Rabbanan mi machuk. So ba minem Rabbi Meir Chama Rav Chasta. Chavite kohen gadol. When we have the chavite kohen gadol, ma mechalkan. How would you split it up? Lechalot bayad or bekli. Now, would you do it with your hand, or they would split it up with a utensil? Meaning, he used to come and he used to divide it into two. How would he divide it? With the utensil or with the keli? So says the Gemara, pshita the biyad, obviously with his hands. The bekli, but if you're going to tell me it's going to be the kli, so he says tutani achnis. Says what you're going to bring into the azara, like a measure, like a kli. So says the Gemara, the achnis. What's the problem? So says the Gemara, Kevin the viklalaktiv lavorachara. To do with the midot and everything, it's like a klala. So therefore, we don't want to come and bring animals, naim and everything inside, because in the klalot it says veshivu lachmechem b'mishkal. So that means it was written in the klalot. So we didn't want to bring it in to start measuring to see be'emet if it was exactly half or not. So ba'mine chasta shulchan. Ma'u sheikadesh kmatzim b'godesh shelo. Would it be mekadesh the komets in the godesh in the b'gdusha, right? And the mekadesh lechem kmatzim mekadesh or dilma dechazel mekadesh lo chazel mekadesh. Samale eno mekadesh. It's not going to be mekadesh the komets. So says the any is it so? V'amar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan divrei omer tfachim mechza kofel. According to the mandamar that says that 2.5, right? 2.5 tfachim umechza kofel. He would come and be kofelet the lechem apanim. Nimsa shulchan mekadesh 15 tefach lemala. The divrei omer tfachim kofel. Because if it's going to be 2, it's 2 times 6 is 12. If it's going to be 2.5, so then it's going to be 15. So Amar Lei comes and he says, Eno mekadesh li karev, ava mekadesh li pasel. It's not going to be mekadesh to bring it closer to the mizbeach, but it's going to be mekadesh to make it pasul betuma. That's what it is. Okay, Mishnah on the bottom of the page. Okay, then we'll start the Gemara tomorrow. Sheva midot shelach b'mikdash. There were 7 different midot of lach in the mikdash. Hin, chetzi ahin. Shlishitayin, Revitayin, log, Chatzia log, Revita log. So meaning in dry, it was all like two measurements. Here you've got the 7. Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Tzadok Omer, Shnatot Ayubayin. They had like different teeth. Well, nowadays we have it in the bottles, like the little tiny. They're calling it here like teeth, but it's basically like protrusions. Yeah. Yeah. Rashi made it. Yeah, Rashi has a picture. You see the picture in Rashi? Yeah. Okay, those are the 7 of them. So he says, right? Ad kan lepar, exactly. Ad kan lekeves. So he says, ad kan lepar, ad kan la'ay, ad kan lekeves. Shimon omer, lo yasham hin, right? V'chi amaya hin mishamesh. He says, what would the hin be mishamesh then? El amida yitera shel logo mechza hayita sham. There was an extra one which was a logo mechza. Sheba yom model mincha kwan gadol logo mechza. B'boker logo mechza ben arbaim. It was 1.5 for the boker and 1.5 for the ben arbaim.